Hi. I might get interrupted with anyone coming online, but I am trying to read whatever I've got of Gangsta Granny. Um, I'll start with the thank yous. I'd like to thank a few people who helped me with this book. First, the hugely talented Tony Ross for his magical illustrations. Next, Annie Janie Morgan, the brilliant head of children's books at HarperCollins. Nick Lake, my hard-working editor and friend. The fantastic de- de- designers, James Stevens and Alan Grant, who worked on the cover and text respectively. The Macarius copy editor Lizzie Riley, Samantha White, for her brilliant work publicizing my books. The lovely Tanya Brendan Rooper, who produces the audio versions. And of course, my very supportive literary agent, Paul Stevens, at Independent. Most of all, I'd like to thank you kids for reading my books. I'm genuinely humbled that you come and meet me at signings, write me letters, and send me drawings. I really love telling you stories. I do hope I can dream up some more. Keep reading, it's good for you. Chapter 1. I'm guessing somebody's online. Is this you, Kieran? Or is this the other one? Jin. That's her name, Jin. Okay. Chapter 1. Cabby Water. But Granny, it's so boring, said Ben. It was a cold Friday evening in November, and as usual, he was slumped in the back of his mum and dad's car. Once again, he was on his way to stay the night at his dreaded Granny's house. All people are. Don't talk about your Granny like that, said Dad weakly. Somebody new. Hi, Dan, said Dad weakly, his fat stomach pushed up against the steering wheel of the family's little brown car. I hate spending time with her, protested Ben. Her TV doesn't work. All she wants to do is play Scrabble, and she stinks of cabbage. In fairness, she thinks the boy, she does stink of cabbage, agreed Mum, as she applied some last-minute lip liner. You're not helping, wife, muttered Dad. At worst, my mum has a very slight odour of boiled vegetables. Can I come with you? Pleaded Ben. I love what's at dancing, he lied. It's called ballroom dancing, corrected Dad. And you don't love it, you said. And I quote, I would rather eat my own bogies than watch that rubbish. Now, Ben's mom and dad loved ballroom dancing. Sometimes Ben thought they loved it more than they loved him. There was a TV show on Saturday evenings that mom and dad never missed called Strictly Stars Dancing, where celebrities would be paired with professional ballroom dancers. In fact, if there was a fire in their house, a mom could only save either a sparkly gold tap shoe once worn by Flamenco Follettino, the shiny tanned dancer and heartbreaker from Italy who appeared on every series of the hit TV show, or her only child, Ben thought she would probably go for the shoe. Tonight, his mom and dad were going to an arena to see Strictly Stars dancing live on stage. I don't know why you don't give up on this pipe dream of becoming a plumber, Ben said. But Ben, and think about dancing professionally, said Mum, her lip liner scrolling across her cheek as the car bounced over a particularly bumpy speed bump. Mum had a habit of applying makeup in the car, which meant she often arrived somewhere looking like a clown. Maybe, just maybe, they would end up on Strictly, added Mom excitedly. Because prancing around like that is stupid, said Ben. Mom whimpered a little and reached for a tissue. You're upsetting your mother. Now just be quiet, please, Ben. There's a good boy, replied Dad firmly. As he turned up the volume on the stereo, inevitably a Strictly CD was playing. 50 Golden Beats from the hit TV show was embossed on the cover. Ben hated the CD, not least because he had heard it a million times. In fact, he had heard it so many times it was like torture. Ben's mom worked at the local nail salon, Gale's Nails, because there weren't many customers. Mom and the other lady who worked there, I suppose they called Gale, spent most days doing each other's nails, buffing, cleaning, trimming, moisturizing, coating, sealing, polishing, filing, lacquering, extending, and painting. They were doing things with each other's nails all day long, and unless Flavio Fellini was on daytime TV. That meant Mum would always come home with extremely long, multicolored plastic extensions on the end of her fingers. Ben's dad, meanwhile, worked as a security guard at the local supermarket. The highlight of his 20-year career thus far was stopping an old man who had concealed 2 tubs of margarine down his trousers. Although Dad was now too fat to run after any robbers, he could certainly block their escape. Dad met Mum when he was wrongly accused of her shoplifting a bag of crisps, and within a year they were married. The car swung around the corner into Grey Close, where Granny's bungalow squatted. It was one of a whole row of sad little homes, mainly inhabited by old people. The car came to a halt, and Ben slowly turned his head towards the bungalow. Looking expectantly out of the living room window was Granny, waiting, waiting. She was always waiting by the window for him to arrive. How long has she been there? Thought Ben. Since last week? Ben was her only grandchild, and, as far as he knew, no one else ever came to visit. Granny waved, and Ben gave a little smile, which his granny face was about permitted him to reluctantly return. Right, one of us will pick you up tomorrow morning at around 11, said Dad, keeping the engine running. Can't you make it 10? Ben growled back. Ben, growled Dad. He released the child lock, and Ben gradually pushed the door open and stepped out. Ben didn't need the child lock, of course. He was 11 years old and hardly likely to open the door while the car was driving. He suspected his dad only used it to stop him from driving out of the car when they were on their way to Granny's house. Clunk went the door behind him as the engine revved up again. Before he could ring the bell, Granny opened the door. A huge gust of cabbage blasted in Ben's face. It was like a great big slap of smell. She was very much the textbook Granny. Are Mummy and Daddy not coming in? She asked, a little crestfallen. This was one of the things Ben didn't stand about her. She was always talking to him like he was a baby. Boom, boom, boom. Together, Granny and Ben watched the little brown car race off, leaping over the speed bumps. Mum and Dad didn't like spending time with her any more than Ben did. It was just a confidence, convenient place to dump him on a Friday night. No, sorry, Granny, sputtered Ben. Well, come in then, she muttered. Now I've set up the Scrabble board for your tea. For your tea. I've got your favourite, cabbage soup. Ben's face dropped even further. No, he thought. Chapter 2. A Dog Walking. Before long, Granny and grandson were sitting opposite each other in deadly silence at the dining room table, just like every single Friday night. When his parents weren't watching Strictly on TV, they were eating curry or going to the movies. Friday night was their date night, and ever since Ben could remember, they had been dropping him off with his granny when they went out. If they weren't going to see Strictly Stars dancing live on stage live, they would normally go to the Taj Mahal, the curry house on the high street, not the ancient white marble monument in India, and eat their own body weight in poppadoms. All that could be heard in the bungalow was the ticking of the carriage clock on the mantelpiece, the clicking of metal spoons against porcelain bowls, and the occasional high-pitched whistle of Granny's faulty hearing aid. It was a device whose purpose seemed to not so much to aid Granny's deafness, but to cause deafness in others. It was one of the main things that Ben hated about his granny. The others were: number one, Granny would always spit in the used tissue she kept up the sleeve of her cardigan and wipe her grandson's face with it. 2. Her TV had been broken since 1992, and now it was covered in dust so thick it was like fur. 3. Her house was stuffed full of books, and she was always trying to get Ben to read them even though he loved reading. 1 second. Who's the second person online? Is that you, Kieran? 4. Granny insisted you wore a heavy winter coat all year round, even on a boiling hot day. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel the benefit. 5. She reeked of cabbage. Anyone with a cabbage allergy would not be able to come within 10 miles of her. 6. Granny's idea of an exciting day out was feeding mouldy crusts of bread to some ducks in a pond. Seven, she constantly blew off without even acknowledging it. 8. Those blow-offs didn't just smell of cabbage, they smelled of rotten cabbage. 9. Granny made you go to bed so early it seemed hardly worthwhile getting up in the first place. 10. She knitted her only grandson jumpers for Christmas, with puppies or kittens on them, which he forced to wear during the whole festive period by his parents. "How's your soup?" inquired the old lady. Ben had been stirring the pale green liquid around the chipped bowl for the last 10 minutes, hoping it would somehow disappear. It wouldn't. And now it was getting cold. Cold bits of cabbage floating around in cold cabbagey water. Bear with me. I'm just gonna try and do something. Who else is online? I know Danielle online, but who else? Is it my fiance? Is that? Just give me a break. I need to try and find it.
Career thus far was stopping an old man who had concealed 2 tubs of margarine down his trousers. Although Dad was now too fat to run after any robbers, he could certainly block their escape.
That's not what I wanted at all, people. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Start. Delete that one and that one. Who else? I know it's Dan, but here's the second one. I'll continue reading once I find it. I think it's just Dan now. I get back to what I was saying. Oh, it's just you watching, is it? I'll choke up soon. Now it's only one. There was two on before. Bear with me, Dan. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it free online, but it's difficult. I don't want. You have to buy it, Jesus. I don't want to buy it. I want it on my phone. What do you want to talk about instead then, Dan? Because I'm trying to find it. don't know how to search it. Yes, apparently. No. Everything. Why does everything be so complicated? I know, right? Tech never seems to work well. The only reason I'm doing this is because there's no one that does it. For PDF, it's fine. $2.99. Cost £3 for the book. Fine. Fuck that shit. I've changed my mind. I'm gonna read that. I used them off. I'm also going to read Demon Dentist. Maybe not Demon Dentist. Um, I need the toilet. I'm saying I'm just deciding what to buy. Yeah, you got the one I wanted. I thought it was Captain Danger. I've changed my mind. I'll go for a new one at that price. Will you quit? Do it that way. Okay, back to our wars. I have to wait for it to arrive. So we'll try again when the book arrives. But for now, back to Jason again. But I did try and get it online in an app. I tried everything, but I do apologise. Sorry, people.